us hard, but we're still holding firm. Say hello to the 2nd 1st Machine Gun Battalion and their secret weapon. Horrie, hero dog of the Mediterranean. With his super keen ears, Horrie can hear enemy planes long before humans can. What's that, boy? Stookers at 11 o'clock. Better take cover, lads. Sorry, Jerry, you can't hit what you can't see. Thanks, Digger. You've done a top job once again.
When soldiers go to war, basically what they do is they pair off with each other. They become mates. And it's almost like a marriage. They're fighting all the time, then they're making each other cups of tea at other occasions. In the case of a dog, if it had got killed or if it got left behind or something like that, it would have affected me the same as I would have lost a soldier mate. Jim Moody found, I think, the same relationship with his dog. In the case of Horrie, he became attached to the troops and attached to Jim and started to become aware that he had to protect these men. He could do something for them. Horrie became a war dog, but also suddenly became something that was normal in their world of abnormal, which was fighting the Germans. Horrie and Jim went through the war and they would have had a horrendous time, the same as all the other diggers did over there. You took everything that the enemy threw at you, and Jim and his boys took everything the enemy threw at them. And they survived. But in the end, they find that one of their greatest enemies was actually going to be the Australian government when it came to repatriation back home. These dogs were in countries that had exotic diseases. Quarantine was a very real issue. Jim knew that if he was found with that dog trying to get back into Australia, he'd be in big trouble. But worse, the dog would have to be destroyed, would be destroyed. But diggers being what they are and Jim being what he was, you always try it on, see if you can do it. The obvious place to put a dog that size was in his kit bag. Jim got on board with Horrie, along with lots and lots of other pets. Typical larrikinism. But the quarantine department became aware of this. Any animals that were found were going to be destroyed or disposed of on board. At this time, I think up to 185 dogs had been found. Jim got through. He got off the ship with Horrie in the kit bag. And they went to start a new life. Well, Horrie just started a new life anyway in a farm in Victoria. It was 3 years they lived on the farm. Would have been a great life. Horrie was a war hero as well, and he was really well known. So the occasion occurred where there was going to be a fundraiser held at an Easter show. Horrie made his big appearance. But the quarantine people saw the war dog as well. And the axe came down. And now the word was the dog would have to be taken away. Jim was now going to be involved in paper warfare with the government, one of the worst situations you could get into. Jim wrote a pretty good letter with a great deal of compassion as well as common sense. But the war was still on. Diggers were probably still going to bring pets from overseas, and the quarantine department felt that an example had to be made of Horrie. Jim lost his battle with the bureaucracy and Horrie lost his life. As was expected, the public reaction was pretty huge. Jim had lost his dog. I can understand it because in a situation as a dog handler in Vietnam, when the war was over, the Australian government decided not to bring the dogs home. No Australian soldier was left in Vietnam, but the dogs were. The handler had to deal with this anguish, not only when he left the dog and came home, but also years after. When we had Anzac Day parades, when we had reunions, there was always something missing. Some stories have happy endings, others don't. In Jim's case, the public believed that Horrie had gone, and actually that was the way Jim wanted it to be. Because the crafty old digger got a last-minute reprieve for Horrie. For 50 cents, or whatever it was in those days, Jim bought a condemned dog that was due to be put down, and he replaced Horrie with that dog. So Horrie lived, and the other dog died. And Jim kept a photo of that unnamed dog right through to the end of his life. Jim did something amazing. He actually got Horrie home. He got him off death row. And he kept it a secret right through all the years of his life. He did something we could never do.